When playing StarCraft 2, a player has to choose between using one of the three different races, Terran, Zerg or Protoss. Each race is unique and do not have the same stuff and strategies at their disposal. That means a Terran player would, for example, have to be able to play the three different matchups: Terran versus Terran, Cirque or Protoss, normally referred to as TVT, TVC or TVP. In this episode we are not going to look at any specific units or army compositions, as there are just so many units and styles, so it would take too long to actually go over them all. A more important reason not to talk about such things is the fact that new units may be added and old changed with the last expansion, Legacy of the Void. Also, balance patches are released regularly, as it is hard to balance a game consisting of 9 different matchups with hundreds of possibilities each. But not only the units may change themselves, but playstyles are always evolving, as player styles are dependent on what is popular, strong at the time, and especially on known tendencies of their opponent. This is referred to as the metagame, the players trying to outsmart their opponent by using knowledge based on other games with said opponent or popular playstyles in general. So let's take a look at the three races, which each have their own traits, weaknesses and strengths. The Terrans are, as you can hear in the StarCraft 2 universe, the humans. The Terran units have an average cost, making the race a jack of all trades. This is apparent in the two most popular, but also very different strategies. On one hand, they can play Bio, which is a highly mobile and harassing playstyle, but on the other hand, they can also play Mech, which is very immobile, but is also the most cost-efficient playstyle possible in the game. Terrans also have the ability to build their structures anywhere they want. They can repair and heal their buildings and units, and the production buildings can fly, which is very important for the switching between the two different production add-ons that Terrans have to use. Then there's the Zerg, the mutant aliens who play very differently from any other race. They can remake their whole army insanely fast. In the late game, Zerg players have the ability in one production cycle to remake everything at once, if they have the resources to do it, that is. This makes it possible for them to win by the sheer amount of stuff they can throw at the other players. To make this remaxing ability even stronger, Zerg players have the easiest and fastest ability to switch and research tech. So not only can Zerg remake their whole army, but they can also, with a small preparation, make a completely new army composition that can capitalize on the opponent's current weakness. Because of this, a lot of people think of the Zerg as the reactive race. The last important thing about Zerg that makes them special is creep. Creep is what we call the grey goo you see slowly covering the map. Except for their main and gas buildings, Zerg players can only make buildings on creep, but it also grants them vision of the covered area and also extra speed for any Zerg units running over it. The last race is the Protoss, the highly advanced alien race who, like the Zerg, cannot build anywhere they would want. This is due to the fact that the supply structure of the Protoss also works as a power conduit for all the other buildings. The exception to this is their main and gas buildings. So these supply structures are required for the building and the usage of all their other structures. On top of this, Protoss have the ability to warp specific units in at any of their supply structures. A warp-in is a quick production of a unit not done directly at the production structure itself, but at a supply structure instead. By placing one of their supply structures just at the opponent's doorstep, they can this way be very aggressive, since they are able to remove nearly all of the defender's advantage. In the late game, this can also be used for the ability to do counterattacks. In general, Protoss makes use of very cost-effective but very expensive units, making them prone to a very defensive playstyle where they'll march out in the late game with a nearly unbeatable army, which is normally referred to as a death ball. As the very last characteristic, all Protoss buildings and units have a regenerative shield. This makes any minor damage dealt to a unit or building unimportant. And this is the end of this video series. This time we covered the metagame and the three races Terran, Zerg and Protoss. I hope you are now well enough equipped to understand the basics of the game. Any confusions about the units themselves is safer and more entertaining to be learned right when you watch the tournaments. So, go forth and watch this wonderful thing that is competitive StarCraft.